What is up, Man Hour Nation? NFL Week 2 power rankings are out. Right here, as you see on the screen, have the show today. The show today was pre-recorded. I'm not going to lie. Did it about midnight last night because I went and got a puppy today. So if you guys, I didn't really have time to interact with you guys today, so we're doing it right now. We're going to do an interaction show right now, right here on the After Hours Show. But you got to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the right-hand man, the peanut butter to my ladies, Mr. John freaking Hoffman. What's up, Hoffy? What's going on tonight, buddy?
What up, Buck Nasty? How we doing?
Dude, I am fan-effing-tastic. I did those power rankings last night, and I had every indication of putting the winner of the Bills versus Jets game up in the top 10, but Aaron Rodgers goes down. I'm like, maybe not so fast, my man. Maybe the Jets or the Bills just not ready to be a top 10 team. So I put the LA Chargers up up there, Hoffy. So I'm going to let you take the reins tonight of the show. You are the host among the hosts right here. But guys, if you want to join the show in any way, shape, or form, there's a link right there. I pinned it in the comments. Join. Hoffy, take it away, big guy.
I mean, we were definitely shitting on your power rankings last week. Your 7 through 10 was absolutely garbage. Was looking forward to seeing what you put together this week. And, unfortunately, as much as I want to just come on and shit on your power rankings, I got to say there's a lot of good things on here, and I got to agree with them. But I did see some comments today. I see some people unhappy with having teams that are 0-1 in those top 10. But let's dive right in and get the method to the Buck Madness here.
Method, man. Always a method.
Last week you had the Giants in at number 10.
I did.
Question that one. You've bumped them out. Obviously, I don't think anyone would expect them in there after putting up a big goose egg. But
that's tough.
How are you going to explain having Los Angeles Chargers, who give up 37 points and start the season 0-1 in your top 10 when they weren't even there last week?
Right. So as I've been saying about the Chargers all season long, is like they legitimately have the best complete roster on paper. They have a top 10 quarterback. They have a really good receiver core in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. They have a decent running back in Eckler. Their defense is there with Khalil Mack. Yes, he is still in the NFL. Still have Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson. Guys, they are a complete team on both sides of the ball. And the only reason why I did not have the Chargers in the power rankings week number 1 is because I did not have faith that they were going to basically compete with the Miami Dolphins. I thought they were legitimately going to get blown out. So I did feel the Giants were going to lose as well. So I didn't want to have two teams that I felt were going to lose in the top 10. So that is why I actually had the Chargers out of the top 10 last week. I slid them in this week because they did compete with one of the most high-powered offenses out there in the Miami Dolphins. And when you go toe-to-toe with the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and their defense, right? Guys, we've been speaking about the Miami Dolphins defense being a top-tier defense. Yes, they gave up 34 points, but maybe the Chargers offense is just that good. So, yes, they did lose. Yes, they are 0-1, but we had to slide them up in there into number 10 because I think they are actually going to do some work this season. And me being a Kansas City Chiefs fan, that is disgusting, Hoffy, coming out of my mouth to think that the Chargers can legitimately compete with the Chiefs in the West, but right now I think they can.
But even giving up 466 yards passing in a game, I mean, they're on par for what? What's that amount to? Like 7,000, passing yards allowed this season?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes. Obviously, week 1 blues on the defensive side of the ball. I give you that. But however, we've seen it where teams just kind of shit the bed, right? They forget to show up, but the Chargers defense is there. They will do some work eventually. They will fine-tune tune some things. And I don't think the Chargers offense is going away anytime soon. Even with Mike Williams missing all of the second half with like a cut lip or something, they were still able to go toe-to-toe with the Miami Dolphins, the second best team in the NFL.
I mean, how about this one? I mean,
so
at least they're 1-0.
The Raiders
division.
are 1-0, yes, but
first in the AFC West.
They are first in the AFC West. They are 1-0 and number one in the AFC West. But however, just like people are saying, oh, the Dallas Cowboys, they just beat the Giants. Oh, the Miami Dolphins just beat the Chargers. Oh, who else had like a easy win, right? The Raiders did beat the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos aren't nothing to really bat an eye about, right? I feel like the Raiders can play the Broncos 10 more times and they would be 50-50. So as they did win, as they are 1-0, number one in the AFC West, the AFC West is not the best division this season. 17-16 win versus Denver Broncos on the road. Yes, it is a quality win. It is a division win. But at that same time, I don't like the Raiders. I mean, as a top 10 team, I don't like them. I don't. Their defensive side of the ball worries me because who is the player that was like on suicide watch?
Chandler Jones.
Yeah, like he was on suicide watch and he wants out after signing just a big deal. Like, has he even played a snap in like Las Vegas? Like, come on, like the Raiders. We all know the Raiders. They're good for 8 games a year. Will it be the first 8 games, middle 8 games, or the last 8 games?
You're just a Raider hater. Be honest.
I'm not a Raider hater. I'm a Raider realist. The real matter is that they will go 500. They can literally start 9-0 and they'll still find a way to go 500. Like that is just the way. That's just the Raider way. Like, let's just be honest.
I mean, this next one that you have here at number 9 it's really probably going to hit close to home with Combs. I'm sure he's a little butthurt. Definitely thought we were going to see, or he thought we were going to see some MVP performances from his boy Justin Fields. But I think the only MVP performance we saw from either team that week was our boy Jordan Love that we've been hyping up. So number 9, you have the Packers.
So, like Packers were a team that was not in the top 10 last week either, because I was buying some Packer hype. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front it. I have the Packers winning the NFC North right now. I think the Packers have a really, really good team, and it is beyond the quarterback. It is beyond the offense. Look at the defensive side of the ball. When did the Chicago Bears break down on Sunday? Hoppy. It is when Zaire Alexander came flying 30 yards up the field, legally knocked the living crap out of Justin Fields, and the Bears literally self-imploded like at that particular time. That is why the Green Bay Packers are going to win a lot of games this season. This is why the Green Bay Packers are going to shock a lot of people this season. And they didn't even have their best receiver out there. The Green Bay Packers are definitely a top 10 team. Once Watson comes back, Jordan Love gets his feet wet a little bit more. They are at Atlanta Falcons this week, a really good matchup for them. People are going to be like, well, why are they not a top 5 team when they beat the Falcons, when they beat the Giants or the Saints, and when they beat the Lions on Monday Night Football come week 4? Like the Packers are the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, you say Jordan Love getting his feet wet, but I mean, right now, I mean, again, week 1, but sitting at number 7 with 245 yards passing this week. So,
right.
I mean, I feel like he's already got his feet wet, and I think it's just, I think he's only going to continue to improve from there. I mean,
so as I do agree with you on that, right? We do have to realize that every time a new quarterback comes on the field, right, it takes about 4 weeks to the NFL to adjust to his play style, to get proper film on him, figure out what his tendencies are, whether he taps the left side of his helmet, right side of the helmet, what he does. Week 5 and beyond, when they play the Raiders and Broncos and Vikings and like Rams, that is when we will see the true Jordan Love. If he is a elite quarterback or if he is just kind of that middle of the pack quarterback that happens to have a good season. And I'm buying some Jordan Love, but I do think moving forward, he'll be kind of that middle of the pack, Kirk Cousins type of quarterback, but will have a few good seasons here or there.
Jesus, don't put them in the same category. He's going to be twice the fucking athlete Kirk Cousins is.
Listen, people dog Kirk Cousins all the time, right? Kirk Cousins should have probably won MVP last season. Look at his stats. His stats year in and year out are 44,000 yards, 45 like on yards, 25 plus touchdowns over and over and over. Very few interceptions. The only reason why Kirk Cousins get dogged on so much is because when the lights do shine on him, he doesn't throw for 300 yards. He only throws for $180 and maybe one score. That is the reason why Kirk Cousins gets the rap that he does, and maybe because he shops at Target still. Like, he is just a normal person, and he isn't like that hype guy. So I think that's why people choose to hate Kirk Cousins, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's not hard. I mean, he threw for 344 yards, but not hard to when you're throwing to Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson to
they still
put up those yards. So we'll see how those Vikings do without having Dalvin Cook on their in their backfield this year. So number 8. I mean, we talked about him being one. Joe Burrow coming in I believe he was 1-4 in 5 games versus the Browns coming in. So we knew this could be a trap game, but I don't think anybody saw what came of Sunday's game versus the Browns. So how are you going to justify having them in the top 10 still after a pretty disappointing loss?
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, let me pop up week 1 here. So I did have Cincinnati Bengals sitting at number 6. So I did drop them 2 spots from last week. How I can justify this is that they are still the Cincinnati Bengals. They still have a really, really good team. They still have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Higgins, Boyd, right, Mixon. They still have a pretty good defense as well. What we have to take into the field conditions into play here, right? It was a monsoon there. It was slipping and sliding. They're playing on natural grass. So the ball is wet. The field's wet. So I'm not taking anything away from the Cleveland Browns defense, right? Excuse me. We have them at number 6 because they did literally dominate the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow threw for 82 yards, not in one quarter, not in one half, the whole game. 82 yards, that's what Joe Burrow had. The simple fact of the matter is that there are matchups across the NFL that match up really, really, really well. And the Browns match up really well versus the Bengals for whatever reason. I don't know what the formula is whatsoever. And I see people are like asking how they lost with the Browns. They lost to a really, really good Browns team. A Browns team that possibly could win the AFC North, the toughest division in football. Also, a Browns team that does have the best, the 4th best defense in the NFL. They do have a Pro Bowl quarterback. They do have the best receiver core in all of the NFL. The Browns are that team. The Cincinnati Bengals are still a top 10 team because they can beat 20 other teams in the NFL. Still, you line them up against any 20 other teams that are below here, I bet you they win that game 9 out of 10 times. That is why still I have them at number 8, just because they do suffer a bad loss week 1. Joe Burrow was also hurt since July 21st, I think is when he suffered that calf injury. Little bit of rust on them. They'll be okay. They will be okay. They will bounce back this week versus the crap-ass Baltimore Ravens and overpaid Lamar Jackson and whoop that ass. Let's just be honest.
You know who was not looking rusty was Jared Goff and your number 7 Detroit Lions playing against your Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
Sure, this is still a little, striking a little close to home, but, some might wonder why you don't have the Detroit Lions maybe ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right. So if we flash back to week 1, I did not have the Detroit Lions in the top 10 team. I'm not a Detroit Lions hater by like any means. I was just trying to like prove it to me, right? Prove to me that you deserve to be in the top 10. Prove to me that you are a team, a organization that is ready to win. Because let's flash back to the draft, Hoffy. They let Jamal Williams go. They traded DeAndre Swift. They let some safeties go and cornerbacks go. And I said right here on the Man Hour, man, the Detroit Lions are scared to win. They have everything set in place, and they're just going to trade it all the way. They are scared to win. And what they do in the draft in the first round, they drafted a running back. I sat there on the live show. I'm like, you never draft a running back in the first round. What the hell is wrong with you? But I'm eating crow. Jahmyr Gibbs is that man. So the reason why I do have the Kansas City Chiefs above the Detroit Lions right now, it is not because of the asterisks, right? It is not because Chris Jones didn't play. It is not because Travis Kelce didn't play. I have them above or below the Chiefs right now because I think if they were to play again right now, the Chiefs would win that game. It would still be a battle, right? But I still think the Chiefs are a better team than the Detroit Lions. When we look at the Detroit Lions, I have them at number 7 because they are a rising team. They have all the parts and pieces of the puzzle there, right? When you're putting together a puzzle, Hoffy, how do you put together a puzzle? You work from the outside, right? You get your border, and then you start to work your way in, right? That is what the Detroit Lions have right now. They have their border put together, and then they got like that center face right there in the middle, and they're starting to build themselves out. Now, this week when they travel or when they're at home taking on the Seattle Seahawks, we have the Seahawks in the top 10. Obviously not there right now, but the Seahawks are a really, really good team still. They just shit the bed versus the Rams, but then they play the Falcons and then they play the Packers, right? So now, even let's say they do beat down the Seahawks, beat down the Falcons. I don't see them really jumping that high in the power rankings unless some magical stuff happens. But week 4 will be a true test for the Detroit Lions when they travel to Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers. But right now I do have them at number 7 because I think they have all the parts there. I just want to see the puzzle complete, right? I want to see who was that wide receiver that they drafted last year? Was it William? No, what was that guy's name? That's like he tore his ACL and now he's suspended for like 9 games for gambling. That I think is Williams is his last name, isn't it, or something? But once he is on the field, I think the Detroit Lions will be the real deal. Jameson Williams is his guy's name.
Yep, Jameson Williams.
I think the Lions have everything put together or built there. They just need to put it together, and I'm excited to see that. That's why I have them at number 7.
I mean, and to piggyback off of all those, those valid points. I mean, I don't think you can expect the Chiefs to drop another 6 passes. If they replay that game, they obviously don't have or Jones in that game. And say what you want, but I think that those two really do. One you could say is your actual true MVP, and the other one is 100% the MVP of that defense. So that being said, I agree with you and think that 9 times out of 10, the Chiefs win that game pretty. It's a dogfight, but I think they win that game pretty handedly.
Right, and also to add another point, I do like what they did on the defensive side of the ball as well. They added C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? They drafted Brian Branch, right? And they added Cam Sutton from the 49ers. I want to see if that secondary can carry it on into weeks beyond 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7. Said, well, what was that comment? Lions probably don't botch a snap and fumble either. Like, what do you mean by that, Jay? Like that, Jay? Like, are you saying that the game was 21-20 because the Lions botched a snap or fumbled it? Like, now the fumble was Mims, right? Was it Mims Jr.
Yeah.
that got the ball punched out like at the 20? You are probably right, Jay. I will give you that. But at the same time, Tooney is not going to let 3 balls hit both hands, his face, and he's not going to kick it up 15 feet up in the air to give it to like Bam either. So
yeah, I mean, take away that pick 6, and it's a complete different game too.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a complete momentum shift too.
Absolutely. So coming in now at number 6, I mean, we kind of already hit on them with your number 8 pick dropping down, but the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson and the rest of those bad boys on defense there.
Right. So I mean, there's not much more we can say about the Cleveland Browns. They do have a top 5 defense in the NFL. And they do have a top 5 offense in the NFL as well, as a receiver core, a running back. Nick Chubb was kind of like 80% maybe, and he still dominated, right? Like once you put Nick Chubb in there and Cooper and Peoples-Jones and the rest of the boys in there, as long as Deshaun Watson literally does not suck, like throw 5 interceptions and much like Josh Allen did on Sunday, like on Monday night, as long as he doesn't give the other ball or get the ball to the other team over and over and over again, the Browns are going to win a lot of games. As long as Deshaun Watson is we can say Pro Bowl quarterback, even though Pro Bowl was kind of an asterisk now, right? Because freaking Tyler Huntley from the Ravens made a last year after playing like 3 games, which is stupid, but whatever. As long as Watson is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, the Browns are not going to exit the top 10. They are the real deal. They have put together, like just like the Chargers, the Browns' weakest point is their coaching and Kevin Stefanski, right?
Yeah, and I'd add into that with their defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz.
Oh yeah, he is money in the bank, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he blitzed Joe Burrow on 53% of his dropbacks, kept him to an average of 2.6 yards per attempt. So, is this going to be the blueprint for how to beat the Bengals moving forward, really?
Yeah, and the NFL is a copycat league once you realize, just like the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2021, when Patrick Mahomes was trying to force the ball down the field to Tyreek Hill over and over and over again. What did the NFL do? They played too high safety. They forced Patrick Mahomes learn how to nickel and dime it down the field. Next year, won a Super Bowl. So the NFL is a copycat league, and we know how to beat the Bengals now. So, and yes, the Browns did look very, very good.
Speaking of Kansas City Chiefs, you got them coming in at number 5. I think even starting at 0-1, you could argue to have them, up there in that top 4. But that being said, how much stock do you put into not having Chris Jones, which you will get back coming week 2 now that he's re-signed his beefed up his contract as well as maybe it sounds like Kelsey's not going to be back this week, but I think you can count on not having 6 drop balls from your wide receivers. But
true,
how much stock do you put into not having those players and that being the reason why they might still be at number 5?
So if you guys like the NFL.com at all, they just released their power rankings as like as well. They had the Chiefs at number 1 last week. They dropped them down to number 2. So they literally have an 0-1 team sitting at number 2 right now. The reason why I do have the Kansas City Chiefs at number 5 is because Chris Jones is back. Let's put Chris Jones in that game versus the versus the Detroit Lions. Hypothetically speaking here, right? Let's say he is in the center of that offense or center of the defense. I should say. What did the Detroit Lions excel at over and over and over again, Hoffy? They excelled at handing the ball to Gibbs, right at the gut to Montgomery and Gibbs over and over and over and over again. 2-hole, 3-hole, boom, 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 boom. Stop us if you can. Oh shit, you can't. Hold my beer. Here it comes again. You put Chris Jones in there, even if he is at 60%, the pure physical presence and know of the ability of Chris Jones, you do not run that play. You bounce it out to the 4 hole. You bounce it out to the 5 hole. For the people that are defensive players, right? We have A, B, C gaps, right? The A gap and B gap were getting exploited. Play after play after play, right between the center and guard and tackle. You put Chris Jones in there, those are C gap runs. Those are D gap runs. Now, the strength of the Kansas City Chiefs defense is speed. Nick Bolton, their defensive end that they drafted from the Kansas State University, the white boy that I can't say his name, Justin Reed, those guys flying up the field and making tackles in the C and D gaps, that is what the Kansas City Chiefs excel at. So with the addition of Chris Jones back this week, I still have them as the number 5 team. I did drop them. I had them at number 4 last week, right? Yeah, so correct. I had them at number 4 last week. Drop them 1 spot. People are in my inbox. Oh, this is bullshit. The Lions beat them. Yes, the Lions did beat them, but this is the power rankings. This is not college. This is not NBA. This is not hockey. Head-to-head does matter, but not as much. This is the power rankings. The Kansas City Chiefs can beat 30 other teams in the NFL. And putting them at number 4 week 1, that was just me trying not to be a homer. Let's just be honest. And then at 5, I'm like, they're at 5 only because of the dominant performances of the 4 other teams. Simple as that.
Yeah, and number 4, I mean, this one's going to hit close to home. I think that the game was definitely winnable for my Patriots, but you have number 4 Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
I think that a lot can be said about they are supposed to be that team in the, a lot of us thought going into the NFC East this year that was the team to beat. I think that might have been proven wrong after Sunday night's game, but you have number 4. You got the Philadelphia Eagles, even after my boy Mac Jones, who everyone has been saying is shit,
right,
put up 316 yards against their pretty stout defense. But I was impressed by their 2 younger players that they have, Carter and Jordan. They were definitely disruptive pretty much the whole game, and probably a big reason as to why that final drive, my boys were unable to put the ball in the end zone. But I will digress on that one. I still think Bill Belichick should have taken the points instead of going for it on 4th and 3. But again, at number 4, you have the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, so hindsight is 2020, right? At the end of the day. But Jay, I see your comment, and we will talk to it at the very end of the show. And Lopez here says Philly at 4, they should be number 1. The Philly was at number 1 last week. This is the reason why I dropped them to number 4. Because, yes, the Philadelphia Eagles still have Jalen Hurts. Yes, they still have their head coach, right? However, they have 12 new starters on that team. They have 2 new coordinators, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator as well. As they have parts put in place, they have the pieces there. They haven't figured it out yet. They were up 16-0 versus the New England Patriots. I was like, oh shit, well, this is going to be a blowout. What happened?
You and me both.
They were like, oh shit, we don't know how this team kind of figures out yet. They kind of took away our quarterback sneak. They took away our RPO game. Our secondary is all brand new. Now the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have some growing pains. They are going to have some growing pains all season long. When they play the Minnesota Vikings next week on Thursday Night Football, I do believe their secondary is probably going to get exposed versus the man, the myth, the legend, and Kirk Cousins. Their run defense should be stout. They still have Fletcher Cox. Jalen Carter is going to be a man-child here. They are going to do well in the running game. But guess what? The Minnesota Vikings like to pass the ball. And this is going to be a true test for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. Now, why do I have them at number 4, below the Dallas Cowboys, below the Miami Dolphins, below the San Francisco 49ers? And why did I drop them from 1 to 4 even after they won? It's because they're not a complete team right now. Now, I think there are many teams in the NFL right now that could go toe-to-toe with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they will probably pull it out with a 1 to 6 point win, right? So that's why they're still at the number 4 rank. but they are not going to be as dominant as they once was. Last year, they were 14-0 before Jalen Hurts. He he goes down and misses 2 games. What happens if Jalen Hurts goes down versus that game in the New England Patriots? They lose that game, right? Everything is based off of Jalen Hurts. Now, you can say that about the Cowboys and Chiefs and like everything else, but literally everything is run through Jalen Hurts. AJ Brown is not effective. Deontay Smith is not effective. That defense gets wore out because their Energizer Bunny is gone. Guys, the Philadelphia Eagles are not that good. Super Bowl hangover is real. Honestly, having them at number 4 is kind of a courtesy because they were at number 1. I wanted to drop them down to number 8. I think the Lions, Browns, and Chiefs are all better than the Eagles. I really wanted to, Hoffy, but I cannot justify moving from 1 to 8 after you do win.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, the Patriots were missing their number 1 cornerback. They started their rookie cornerback at that number 1 spot, having to go against Brown and Smith, and Hurts only threw for 174 total yards. I think it was 150, when you include the sacks and all of that. So yeah, I think we've talked about it many times. Me being a Patriot lover, I still think they're at the bottom of the AFC East. So if you're struggling against one of the lesser teams in the AFC, how are you going to beat your number 3 spot here in the Dallas Cowboys? And you got to go against them twice.
And we forgot about this. They traded for DeAndre Swift in the offseason. He had 1 carry for 1 yard. Your backup running back from last season, Boston Scott, right, that was supposed to take Miles Sanders' spot over the season, 1 carry for 1 yard. Kenneth Gainwell was your leading rusher, 14 carries for 54 yards. That is not the bread and butter of the Philadelphia Eagles. The bread and butter for the Philadelphia Eagles is running the ball, an effective running game to open up that short passing game, to open up AJ Smith and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith down the field. If the Eagles can't run, they are not a top 10 team. 4 is a courtesy.
Yeah, I agree. But like that being said, we'll go into number 3. I mean, I shit on you for having them in I believe you had them at
6.
What did you have them at number 6? And even I thought that was high, but that's
5.
I think that's
5 last week.
Yeah, 5. I think that's just because I'm a Dak hater. I still don't believe in Dak. I do think that his turnovers will be corrected this year, having a new, Mike McCarthy as their coordinator. But that being said, how are you going to, yes, their defense looks stout. They held the Giants to 0 points, 40-0. But, Dak only finished 13 of 24 for 143 yards. So do you expect this Dallas Cowboys team to continue with this momentum? And hey, I've heard comparisons to, the 2000 Ravens defense, or even the Bears of the 80s. So do you think that this Dallas Cowboys defense is going to carry them to a Super Bowl this year?
So yes, and yes. I think the Dallas Cowboys defense can single-handedly win them a Super Bowl this season. Will they? Yet to be determined, right? And exactly. Come on, they played the Giants. This is the Giants team that we've been talking up all off season. They had a good draft, right? Guys, do you realize that the New York Giants won a playoff game last season? Not only did they make the playoffs, they won a playoff game last season. The Ravens didn't do that. The Detroit Lions didn't do that. The Dallas Cowboys didn't do that. The Miami Dolphins didn't do that. The Chargers didn't do that. The Packers didn't do it. Do I need to go on? Guys, the Giants are a good team. Let's just not get it twisted, right? Unfortunately, the wheels fell off of the Giants, and they could not get the wheels put back together fast enough or even at all. But let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys here. For year after year after year, the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl team on paper, right? They have all the parts in place. They have receivers. They have linemen. They have defense. They have a kicker. Now they have a coordinator in Mike McCarty, which is the head coach calling the offensive plays, that understands that Dak Prescott is a game managing quarterback. Yes, he had 150 yards, right? He doesn't need to throw the ball down the field 80% of the time. Dak Prescott threw 15 interceptions last season. Yes.
In 12 games.
Next level stats tell you that 12 of those interceptions were passes over 20 plus yards. 20 plus yards he threw for 12 interceptions. Dak Prescott is not that type of quarterback. Mike McCarty is not going to put Dak Prescott in those positions to repeatedly throw the ball 20 plus yards down the field over and over and over again. With that being said, Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Hell, Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. It is easy to play quarterback when you have the best defense in the NFL. Yes, I said you have the best NFL in the defense. What?
Lamb.
Yeah. So it is easy for Patrick Mahomes to be a top 5 quarterback when he has Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman, right? It just you can
because I think he's much like Brady. He can make mediocre wide receivers look good. I think that you take away Dak's weapons that he has right now, and he's not even mediocre at best.
Okay. So let's take away CeeDee Lamb, right? CeeDee Lamb is off the table. They still have Brandon Cooks. They still have Michael Gallup, right? 2 receivers that could be a number 1 or number 2 on any other team in the NFL. Okay, let's put Tooney on the Cowboys. Mr. Drops himself. Let's put McCole Hardman on the Cowboys, right? It is okay because Dak Prescott doesn't have to throw the ball 80 times in a game to be successful. He will nickel and dime down the field over and over and over. Slant here, slant there. As long as Tooney doesn't drop the ball, they'll be okay. Guys, the Dallas Cowboys are the real deal. Dak Prescott is a real deal. Mike McCarty is a Super Bowl winning coach, Hoffy. Wrap that around your head. He has the hardware on his hand. He has the backing of his players.
He should have more than 1 ring when he's had, Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, though, and I think you can even agree on that. Come on.
I do agree with that to an extent. To an extent that Aaron Rodgers legitimately, they had it one way or the other. They either had a really good defense or a really good offense. They could never put the total package together.
I mean, they have put the total package together. They just happen to run into, the San Francisco 49ers, right. Whether, a higher seed or not. But it seems like anytime that we expect things out of them, they run into the San Francisco 49ers. But
pull up that comment versus he's Derek Carr of the Big D or whatever. Derek Carr is not a bad quarterback either. Okay, guys, understand this. When Derek Carr was in Las Vegas, okay, Hoffy, last 4 seasons, all offseason, we said, he's getting traded to the Packers. He's getting paid to the 49ers. We're going to cut him. We're going to bench him. We're going to trade him here. We're going to trade him here. Hey, we're going to draft a quarterback in the first round and put him as a receiver and that he's never played a receiver before in his life. And then we're going to cut him the next week. Guys, the Raiders were definition of the worst franchise in the NFL the last 6 seasons. Derek Carr's whole tenure in Vegas, LA, or Oakland, wherever you want to put it, in face of adversity, Derek Carr shows up week after week after week and gives them positions to win. The Vegas Raiders were literally looking for reasons to get Derek Carr out of town. And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to win anyways. I mean, hell, how many first-round draft picks are either in jail or cut or on another team from the Raiders? I think all of them in the last 7 years. Like, legit. Hoffy, I'm not even making it up. I think the last 7 years, every first-round draft pick from the Las Vegas Raiders is no longer on the team. Jail, traded, or cut. Seriously. Like, the Raiders were looking to get Derek Carr out, and he improved each and every year, year after year after year. To say that he is the Derek Carr in Big D, that is a compliment. Say it again. He is Derek Carr in the Big D, baby. Sorry, Huffy. My bad.
But I mean, I agree with Anibal Lopez. McCarthy couldn't get it done in Green Bay with a loaded team, but
When were they loaded?
With McCarthy?
Yeah.
I mean, almost every year. I mean, you could say they had a cupcake, division that they played in, but they still should have.
Right. Well, hang on here. To say he was loaded, Aaron Rodgers obviously made his teammates around him better, right? Jordy Nelson, obviously off of an ACL tear, right? I don't want to dog my man Jordy. We were rivals in high school and played together at the Kansas State, but he went to Oakland, and what happened? Jordy who, right? So maybe it's the Tom
Brady effect.
Yeah.
I haven't seen our boy Arthur Brown in the chats. I think he's going to be a little disappointed he misses this one when you got his Miami Dolphins,
right?
Tua, and his Miami Dolphins at number 2.
So they were at number 2 last week, and the reason why I did not move them up or move them down, because I expected their offense to do well, which they did. I expected them to beat the Chargers, what they did, but they did not impress me on the defensive side of the ball. Now, you can say that the Chargers offense is good. I moved them up because the Chargers offense is good. What I am not buying right now is the defense being those guys, right? Like all offseason, Hoffy, we've been saying Miami Dolphins has the best defense in the AFC East. Maybe not. Might be the Patriots, right? So they're kind of in that prove it stage, right? When you have the Miami the Dolphins, yes, they are a Super Bowl caliber team, but if you flash back to last season, they were a wild card team that lost to the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. Yes, you can say, oh, it was a third string quarterback, yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, you are still a professional athlete. You are still expected to step up and do what they do, right? This Sunday night game, when they travel to MetLife or Foxborough in New England, you gave me a little history lesson there. They're somewhere in Massachusetts, apparently. Apparently, they can't be called the Massachusetts Patriots because it's racist, I guess. But this is a good measuring stick for the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football versus the New England Patriots. Now, if they can dominate the New England Patriots, maybe they slide up into number 1. Or maybe they battle with the Patriots. Maybe they slide down to number 5. The Miami Dolphins have the highest ceiling and the lowest floor of everybody in the top 10 right now.
But when they got your boy right there, the Cheetah, and Jalen Waddle, I mean, you don't need to have a defense when you're putting up, 37 plus points, 466 yards a game. I mean,
true.
Just go routes and throw it up to your boy. So
this is why you need a defense, though, right? The only reason why the Miami Dolphins won that game, David, I see you in there, and I told you this the minute J.C. Jackson intercepted the ball in the red zone. I believe Braxton Berrios was a receiver. He was 9 yards deep in the end zone, very back corner, and he decided to run it out. He's like, oh, I'm going to take it to the house. The dude returned it to the 3-yard line. All right. That was the complete game-changing opportunity that the Miami Dolphins needed, and they did capitalize it on the offensive side of the ball. But that's why you do need a defense, at least, is to make some type of plays and stop them at least once.
Yeah, I mean, they were without Jalen Ramsey. I don't know that he makes that big of a difference when you're, giving up 34 points, but I do expect their defense to improve. Not that it's, very difficult to improve after giving up 34 points, but
right.
They were without their big free agent, acquisition or their trade.
September's a long way away, though.
What's he coming back week 5?
No, December. Sometime in December, if he comes back at all this season. Like they're talking like mid-December, so maybe
like I said, you got Jalen Waddle, you got the Cheetah, you got Tua. I mean, provided he doesn't turn into a vegetable or a Cabbage Patch Kid with by week 8. What's that?
Can we talk about can we talk about the X factor for the Miami Dolphins? Raheem Mostert, Mr. 31-year-old man himself. Yes, he only had 37 yards on 10 attempts, but those were 37 yards that kept the Chargers defense honest.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He came from San Francisco with the coach McDaniels, and being that I was living in San Francisco for the past 5 years, I got to see some good games from him. So I do agree with you that I think Mostert is going to be an X factor that is going to be a solid piece coming out of the backfield in the receiving game. So I do think that's an added bonus there to those two superstars that you got at your 1-2 positions on the wide receiver end. But that brings us to our beloved San Francisco 49ers at number 1.
Yeah, so what we have at San Francisco 49ers last week, let me look at it. They were at number 3. They were at number 3 last week. So we obviously moved them up to the number 1 seed because of the complete beatdown that they did to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Which you had at number 9.
Yeah, which I had them in the top 10. They said, come in, little boy. Let me spin you over my knee and spank that ass. And that's what they did. Nick Bosa didn't practice all training camp, no preseason games, no OTAs, no nothing. The dude literally signed 2 days before the game, said, come in here, and he had like 8 tackles. Like, he was in the backfield damn near every play. The reason why the San Francisco 49ers are at number 1 is because right now they are the most complete team. They can literally put any quarterback on the field right now, and they are going to win a lot of football games. Now, I am not sold on Brock Purdy. I do think Brock Purdy is a flash in the pan. I did a film breakdown on him 3 weeks ago now. He has a weak arm, pretty inaccurate, and he makes bad decisions. Now, maybe after a full year of off-season work and actually being the guy, right, maybe he can actually work on some of that stuff. But right now, the San Francisco 49ers, nobody is going to beat them. Now, obviously, moving forward, I believe they play the Rams this week, Hoffy. Let me pull it up. I think that is correct. I think they play the Rams this week. Yeah, so they're
going to say LA. Brock Purdy makes bad decisions. He finished 19 of 29 for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Okay, so I was referring to last season. I wasn't referring to week 1. Like I said, it is very easy to make good decisions when you're up 30-0 and you're throwing little dump passes to Deebo Samuel that can like catch it with his abs and like crush the ball. Like, have you seen that guy's 12-pack?
We're talking about Samuel, not DK Metcalf.
Whatever. Deebo Samuel, he's thick and has as many abs as DK has on his legs. It's just ridiculous how thick this guy is. And the under at the X Factor, CMC, 150. What? 150.
No. You're not allowed. You are absolutely not allowed to speak about Christian McCaffrey when all you've done is shit on him and not being the number 1 running back in the fucking NFL. So you keep his name right out your mouth.
Listen here, he is thick. No, but no, Christian McCaffrey had 150 yards, but Elijah Mitchell, he is the true X factor for the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers will go as far as Elijah Mitchell takes them. Yes, they have Deebo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, that defense from head to toe, Armstead, Bosa, Warner, Ward, right? The list goes on and on. They have all these guys, but the 49ers right now, 2 guys are going to make or break their season, Brock Purdy and Elijah Mitchell. But right now, they are the most complete team on the NFL. And he says, don't curse at me. McCaffrey is the real deal.
That's what I'm saying.
He is the real deal until week 8.
Speaking of real deal, I know they're not in the top 10. We spoke on them briefly when we talked about the Eagles. I thought that they had a very winnable game. But how do you think that we can say it again?
Yeah. So listen, I have been kind of high on the New England Patriots all off season, right? I thought the biggest acquisition of the Patriots all offseason wasn't Juju, wasn't whoever else they brought in. It was the addition of Bill O'Brien. The pure adjustment of the offense from being the worst coach in NFL history and Matt Patricia to Bill O'Brien, one of the top offensive coordinators in the NFL, that alone will elevate the New England Patriots. Hoffy, what were they last year? They were a 6-win team, right?
I believe 7-9.
So they were 7-10 last year.
7-10, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, so with that being said, yes, the New England Patriots are going to be relevant. And it's not because of just a Mac Jones. It is not because of Bill Belichick, right? They have the whole package. The defense, this might be one of the most underrated defense in all of NFL. Because year after year after year, like the Patriots just put a good defense on the field. Like, I don't know why, but they have a good defense. Like, no names jump out at me. Maybe Matthew Judon, right? But other than that, like, who, right? But they work well together as as a team. And this year, the offense is going to explode. They have Juju, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker, Hunter Henry, Zeke Elliott, my guy. Like, come on.
And you're forgetting Stevenson, and I don't think Ezekiel or Stevenson. I mean, Stevenson had 6 receptions for 64 yards, so did his thing on the receiving end. But I mean, we didn't rush the ball very well. I don't, I do give some credit to where credit is due. The Eagles are pretty stout up front there. We talked about their 2 younger players in Carter. Yeah, I mean, that defensive line is crazy. But again, just to reiterate, we didn't have our number 1 cornerback there this week, and yet we still held Jalen Hurts to 170 yards, 1 touchdown. Right. I mean, go down 16-0, very easily could have, just tail between the legs and taking a beating like we saw the Sunday night game with the Giants, just, basically giving up after before the game even started. But I do think that Bill O'Brien's going to be a key factor here in the Patriots in turning things around. I no longer think that they're going to be at the bottom of the AFC East. I think we can agree that that's probably now going to, your prediction's going to come to fruition now with this 6-11 Jets.
7-10, baby. 7-10.
That might be generous,
right?
I mean, they have a pretty brutal, first 6 games. I mean, I don't. Let me see if we can pull it up here.
Cowboys next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have the Dolphins as well. But yeah, I think if I remember correctly, if we were thinking that their first 6 games they could come out Broncos 3-3, they're
screwed.
Yeah, you got the Cowboys, you got the Patriots, you got the Chiefs, the Broncos, that's winnable, but then they got the Eagles, the Giants. Yes, they took an ass whooping on Sunday Night Football, but I don't think that you can expect that. I think Brian Daboll will have his boys, ready to play. They play the Chargers after the Giants. They got the Raiders, that's winnable, but then again, the Bills, the Dolphins, Falcons are winnable. They get Texans, but yeah, there's really not many cupcakes on their schedule.
On the Falcons, man. Robertson is the real deal, and Ritter is the real deal. Like, the Falcons got some good parts.
I think that they're going to be hit or miss this year, as far as they'll have their flashes, they'll have their down games. I think next year is when they will put it all together and have a solid season. I do agree with you, though, that you could run into a buzzsaw, or you could run into a nice fluffy old cupcake, depending on which Falcons team shows up on that given day.
I like this comment. No love for Zach. When Zach Wilson was outplayed by Mike White last season, there is no love for Zach Wilson. I would not be surprised.
I could have. Any one of our kids could have made that interception, thrown that interception that he threw last night. Like, what?
Let me give you a hot take there, Hoffy. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Who was the second to last quarterback drafted by the New York Football Jets before Zach Wilson?
White.
Samuel Darnold. Sam Darnold.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're talking.
Where does Sam Darnold play for now? San Francisco 49ers. It would not surprise me one bit if they are in the year of the San Francisco 49ers. Like, hey, can we bring Sam back? He's Sam Darnold's better than Zach Wilson right now. I bet you Zach Wilson is thinking, man, who can we call so where I can sit the bench and kind of just get the glory so I can bang some more MILFs? Trey Lance is is out there. Skylar Thompson is out there. How about let's go to Saints? Jameis Winston it could be some trade bait, right? Like, I guarantee you that the Jets are making calls right now for a quarterback that is somewhat that can like get them through the year because they do have a Super Bowl roster, right?
Yeah, I mean, on paper they got probably one of the. You could argue they have the best defense in there.
Is that just bullshit?
I think that's legit. Oh God, this one. If you guys seriously think that Tom Brady is coming out of retirement to play for the Jets,
holy shit!
I think you guys are the ones that are on drugs.
No. Let's say that does happen, and then Tom Brady plays next week versus the New England Patriots after getting honored at halftime. Holy shit! How awesome would that be? Oh man!
I will drive to fucking wherever you are and kick you straight in the fucking dick.
Make sure you bring your.
Do not speak that into fruition. But I mean, Zach Wilson finished 14-21
right now. Oh my God! Let's make it happen.
Fuck off! Fuck off! No.
Carson Wentz. Oh, now
how are we going to be impressed with someone that goes 14 for 21 with 140 yards, one touchdown, and one interception that literally he stared the guy right in the chest and said, "I'm gonna put it on your number."
What we are impressed is that he was not expecting to play that game at all. Let's just be honest. Zach Wilson all season was like, "I'm number 2, I'm number 3, whatever. I'm okay with that."
No. If you don't remember, he was going to give Aaron Rodgers hell for that position.
Who said that?
Zach Wilson. He was going to make whichever quarterback they brought in his life hell.
Except for Aaron Rodgers because he's daddy. Now, Anna Ball is just talking shit. Colin Kaepernick is the worst quarterback the NFL has ever seen.
I want to see it, though.
Listen, if Colin Kaepernick gets a job before I do in the NFL, something is fucking wrong. I'm just be flat out honest. I can be a fat, out of shape guy that hasn't put pads on for 7 years, and I'm still better than Colin freaking Kaepernick.
Can be?
Yeah, I can be. Give me 3 weeks in the gym, and I'll have 6-pack abs, baby. But guys, there's a reason why Colin Kaepernick is not in the NFL. There's a reason why he's not in the NFL. It's not because he's black. Is not because he took a knee. It is not because he did this, and this. He was 1-12 his last season as a starter. 1 win and 12 losses. He sucks. Good luck.
I'm still
so
for
sick
it.
Of this. Oh, he's black. He's being black by. No, he fucking sucks, Hoffy. Colin Kaepernick is the worst quarterback in the NFL has ever seen. He was carried by the San Francisco 49ers. Alex Smith would have won.
Whoa. He's not the worst. There's people like, RG3. There's Lamar Jackson that's out there.
Lamar Jackson. Even trash ass Lamar Jackson better than Colin Kaepernick. Listen, I would take Lamar Jackson. I would come and let him sleep in my wife's bed with me. He can sleep in the middle and he could like play over Colin Kaepernick. No, Cap sucks, guys. Just face it. Thank you, Jay.
Carson Wentz is out there. I mean,
Carson Wentz. Wasn't he the same quarterback that had Eagle shirts on, a Washington helmet, and like a Colts jersey, like working off at like on a high school field like a month ago or whatever it was?
Yep.
Yeah. Listen, if the Jets do get any quarterback, I believe Jameis Winston would probably be the most realistic pick. Or if we want to go down a deep, deep rabbit hole, Teddy Bridgewater from the Lions, possibly. I mean, basically any quarterback that can just give Garrett Wilson the ball more than twice. And, I don't know. Thank you, Coffee, for putting some respect on Kaepernick. Garner Minshew. I like that one, Huffy. You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, my AirPods just shit out on me, so I don't want to.
Oh, you're all good. You sound fine. Garner Minshew. He plays well in green.
No, he needs to be in movies. That's about the only team he belongs on.
Listen, I was the biggest Garner Minshew hater when he was with the Jaguars, because people are like, "Oh, mustache mania, yada yada yada." But I thought he legitimately was going to be a starter in Indianapolis, and I kind of started to like him. But now I'm like, "Fuck Garner Minshew." Let's pull up this comment. Jay says Hutchinson had the Chiefs O-line false starting, lining up in the slot all game long. LMAO. So Jay, I'm glad you brought this up, because there is a picture on my Facebook that people are like pointing down to the guard, like, "Oh, look how far he's backed up," and the right and the left tackle is 2 yards deeper than he is. Literally everybody in the NFL lines up like this, Hoppy. It is, guys. The only reason why you are bringing this up, Jay, is because Chris Collinsworth could not shut his mouth up more than 10 minutes about it. Nobody would be talking about it at all if Chris Collinsworth was not repeatedly talking about it play after play after play. "Oh, look how big he is. Oh, he's The point of the matter is, if you are not playing in the gray area, you are not trying hard enough. If you are not cheating in the NFL, you are not trying hard enough. He was literally giving away the play call with how he lined up, bro. You are correct. You are correct. And every good coach would have saw that. Every good linebacker would have saw that. And you are correct. When I scout film at the high school level, every player has a tendency. Whether you're an NFL player, whether you're a college player at Ohio State, yes, I'm talking to you, Zen. You still lean to the left when you're going left, my man. Even at the high school level, every player has tendencies. As a coach, as a player, you need to see that. You need to point that out, and you need to exploit it. And the Detroit Lions did exploit it. So as a coach, they better fix it ASAP. Hoffy, sorry, man. I mean to take over. I'm fired up.
No, you're good. Gave me an opportunity to go get my second set of earbuds there.
Oh, earbuds.
Yep.
Okay, Buck. KC is your team. KC is my team. I ain't going to flake on it.
Apparently, he's not looking at your backdrop.
Oh, here we go. Suit Boss is in the chat.
Oh,
this is a joke. Fucking Suit Boss. This is a joke. Philly at number 4. They're not the 4th best team this weekend. Listen, Suit Boss, if you were here an hour ago, you would understand that I wanted to put them at number 7. I really, truly did. But I couldn't justify it from dropping them from 1 to 7 when they won. Where'd you have Philly at? Isn't Suit Boss a Patriots fan, Hoffy? I think.
He absolutely is a Patriots fan. Yep.
Boo this man. Boo you. Boo hoo all the way to the freaking bank when I rickroll your ass. I don't know, man. I am. Guys.
On that note, I think Buck needs to go to bed.
Nah, I'm just, dude. 6 beers in, baby. It's time, Hoffy.
Oh,
Birdie's. So, guys, I went and got a dog this morning, and Birdie's looking at me like, "What the fuck, homie? Like, what are you doing?" Philly at 9 or 10. Listen, Suit Boss, I do agree with you. I wanted to put Philly at number 7. I really, truly did. But I had them at number 1 week 1. I wanted to drop them down to what, Hoffy, I said, like number 7, right? But
yep.
I couldn't justify it because from 1 to 7, after beating a decent New England Patriots team, like, can you really justify that? I could not.
But did they beat the Patriots, or did the Patriots beat themselves?
Listen, if the game was played in 3 quarters, the Patriots would have won the game.
Yeah, and if they kick the field goal on 4th and 3, take the points, and then they, at the end of the game, they're kicking a field. They run the clock down to 1 second, take a timeout. They're kicking a field goal to win.
Who's their kicker? Would they made it? Subot just said that.
They were
Yeah.
what, on the 15-yard line? They absolutely would have made that kick.
Honestly, I did not see the
You're-
end
you're-
of that game.
that-
I was watching
you're-
the Chargers game at that point.
The puppy in your lap could have made that fucking field goal.
She's right here. She's looking at me weird. She must have to poop.
I'm gonna have to call the animal patrol for neglecting an animal.
No, Philly won that game. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the game because
Do it.
I honestly turned it. I changed because I got the NFL Sunday ticket out, which is freaking amazing, right? When they went up 16-0, I actually turned it over to the Bengals Browns game, and when the when the Browns started to beat the Bengals brains out, I switched it over to the Raiders Broncos game. Like, well, this is stupid. So then I turned it over to the Dolphins Chargers game. So Philly got bailed out multiple times.
Have I not been saying that the whole show?
True. All right, man. We out. Later, David. Later, guys. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m. East Coast time. Peace.